I only have 3 subscribers anyway. It's you, Crystal. I finally found out, and Karen. So Andrew didn't find me. I was scared and I was kind of reserved. Um, so I will share it, but it is the transference of one's consciousness. However, you can't transfer your consciousness if you're split. If you have fragments of your consciousnesses and all the patterning and all the identification that you have left because you haven't pulled them all together, it acts like a handbrake. You can't transition into another level of being somewhere else when you've left pieces of yourself behind. It's a bit like when you move house. You know, you're always told energetically to go in and pull all the fragments of yourself that you've left in anything physical in the house, the walls, the floor, the foundation, the earth. You have to pull in all those fragments. Otherwise, you don't really transition into your new home. It's critical. It's, energy management. We just don't think about it on a daily basis. And those fragments are often our broken pieces. Those are often the pieces of us that do not consider themselves a part of us. And they consider themselves separate, sometimes to the point that they can actually have a whole different persona of their own. And in, extreme cases, that's where, split personalities come in, through trauma. Part of self fractures off, and they are usually the most painful pieces of oneself to pull back in to unity. They carry the most pain, the most drama, the hardest things to look at, the things that we shun and fear about ourselves the most. But there can be no complete transition into something until one is complete and has all pieces of oneself woven back into unity. Otherwise, you leave a tear. And through the tear, inconsistencies occur. Or worse yet, you move into a new timeline, but you still have pockets of irritation in your field that haven't been dealt with. And that's just like having, a root that you haven't had pulled out of your face, and eventually you develop a bone infection. It's the same type of thing. You have to eliminate the pockets of irritation in one's field and harmonize completely in order to transition into another timeline. Otherwise, you just will yourself in there. But can you sustain yourself in it? No. Because it's not a complete transition. It's not a leap. What it is it's a projection. And therefore, you end up having to support it here, and it takes a lot of energy to support. And then it becomes almost like an illusion, which some say this is. So, depends again. There you are again, the ultimate duality, which is real. The illusion that we wake up in daily and we're real when we're asleep. I mean, that's obviously the correct way of seeing it. So how do we change it? Maybe subtly in dream time. Fully consciously when we're extended into the third dimensional matrix. It's not necessarily a dream. It's where we choose to have consciousness in order to grow. So therefore, it's very beneficial. So when we refuse to dip into it, how can we grow? We can't skip class. And we chose to do it for multiple reasons. My own was because I wanted to evolve, ever evolving, by putting one in situations where I can make choices that help me evolve and grow and refine, heal. Also, to create a path and a pattern and a template for others that are unaware of the fact that they even are stuck here because it's been so long since they've remembered their soul and source. To go, hey, and they go, wait, I want that. And wake them up, because you can't step over free will. You can't. But say, for example, little image, you are in a car driving along and somebody bent over and carrying the weight of the world goes by, and every step is painful and their heart's bleeding. They had swords in their back, like the five of swords, everything's just awful. You look over and you go, ooh. You have one of two instincts. I need to help that person, or I will never be that person. Well, speaking from personal experience, okay, so you're left with, I will never be that person, or I'm so that person and I empathize with them and I want to help them. Or another scenario, you're driving down the car and somebody blows past floating on air with fairies and magic and pixie dust and trees and cosmic creation go by and you go, oh, I want that. I don't think many people go, I don't want that. So how do we get from the person in the car? It just depends on whether we have all our pieces. That's what fractured the out-breath. When the in-breath got called, all the pieces have to come back, just the same as in our soul growth. You can't step into a whole other level of being with pieces of yourself left behind. And I'm not saying that you can't go until then, because you can, but you still have to dip back in to the dimension and retrieve them. And then once you've woven everything into the new fabric that you are, then you can begin to create from that. You have to have all your brokenness woven back into harmony. And the pieces we avoid are the very pieces that are being shoved in our face right now to see. Oh, I'm not that. Then why is it all around us? Why is it in every single moment, every single thing that we see? Until we own it and transition through it. Then suddenly, scene change. Stuff changes. You begin to create a new reality by pulling it down from source into skin, and you slowly, moment by moment, start creating alternative realities. Then you step into them. You have to build them before you can step into them. You weave them very carefully from aspects of yourself into aspects that you want to become. You eliminate that which you no longer want to use in your creation. But you can't discard pieces of yourself that are broken just because you don't want to look at them. And that's what so many do. They do not own and deal and transition through shadow. And the only way to do that is to step right into it. And so many of us have been going lately that we're just being pushed off into the abyss and we're having to swim now. And we're grappling at every single thread of information that we had within us rather than just allowing ourselves to float. We got so freaked out that we don't even realize that if we just breathe, we're already done. And it's only going to get worse because we are now going from the 10-10 gate into the 11-11 gate. That's self-mastery. We don't have much time. It's like when I started the Sophia Circle, 3 months. Yeah, that was an overstatement. I couldn't go through all that level of clearing in 3 months. There's no way. It makes me question how quickly I can do Sophia Circles. Like a 3-month period, that's a lot to expect somebody to transition through. It's obviously going to have to be a 3-month Sophia Circle, then a 3-month Sophia Circle, and a 3-month Sophia Circle, and cycle, because it's so intense. It's so intense. But here we are, moving towards these other gateways coming up. 11-11 is, 2 weeks away? And then we have 12-12. Oh my gosh. Because that's cosmic consciousness, Christ consciousness. And then we go into the gateway of the return of the solar lords. Sun Boy's coming back. Sun Boy's coming back. The divine female needs to be healed and in place in order for things to go well. We have a lot to do. We can't bandy about with I don't want to, I'm kind of scared. And I am the worst culprit. How can I step into my power if I run from it and hide? And then look at other people around me and go, they're bossy, they're mean. No, they're what I should be weaving into myself so that I can go, you know what, this is what I need to do. And I'm not going to harm anybody. I'm not going to hurt anybody. But I'm also not going to be harmed or hurt either. I'm going to use my source intelligence through the expression of my brow, communicate and speak through my throat that's open and coming from my heart, that's anchored in my power, that has everything to do with my sacral, which means I belong here, to do with the will, which I am, the divine spark that I am. And I am going to clear the clouds from my sun and moon, because I am both masculine and feminine, woven into the infinity sign, which is in my field. I am a cosmic human. I am source in skin, as are we all. So this is time of great excitement. Great excitement. So close to moving into a different awareness as such. The unfortunate news is we're not done even then. But then, having said that, at least we won't be swung between the polarity charges. We will be comfortably grounded in pushing our sleeves up and getting on with it, pulling out weeds. But we will no longer identify ourselves as the weeds. We will just very carefully change the landscape. We will start weaving in new opportunities, new potentials, new levels of awareness that people will be able to go, I don't want to be that person carrying all that crap on their back. And I certainly don't want to have to do it for them. We will then start skipping along, levitating, and doing all the things that some of us have really spent a lot of lifetimes perfecting to come and anchor here. Sorry. I do love you.